Hey there, Emily here. I have taken some time away from my podcast recently to reevaluate and kind of regroup and see what we can do to kind of bring it to more people. And so we're going to do something a little bit differently. You may be listening to this in the podcast, or you may be watching this on my YouTube channel. Either way, welcome. I am so glad you're here. What I'm going to start doing is actually dual recording these. So if you prefer to listen to podcasts, you can still through the New Teacher Success Network podcast, or you can follow a playlist on my YouTube channel and get some tips and tricks related to the New Teacher Success Network podcast that is specifically designed for new teachers. But I've heard that other teachers get some benefit from it too. So no matter where you know me, how you know me, I hope you will tune in, leave a message, a comment, email me, all of those good things so that I know what I can do to help serve you. So in today's episode, we are going to talk about something that it's a little bit delicate, and it is something that some of you may need to hear. We are going to talk about today, how do you know when it's time to move on? That coming up next. But first, if you are on my YouTube channel, please like, subscribe, and follow me. I have playlists related to our reading intervention teachers, our new teachers, and our teachers that are working on practicing and passing the RECA exam. So I hope you will do that. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right. So remember that we have a membership called the New Teacher Success Network. Inside of this membership, I have a number of teachers that I have worked with over several months and a couple over a few years. And I've gotten to know these teachers really well. And there's something that has been a common theme amongst a few. Let me see. I know that's a little like contradictory, but I want to tell you about a couple of teachers without revealing their identities that I've spoken to specifically about something that's been really emotional. So I have this one teacher that I talk to monthly, if not every few weeks, who's in a really challenging position right now as a primary teacher. She's a first-year teacher. She is not a young teacher. She's about in my age or so. And so she is experienced and has a great deal of experience and life, stories to share. Highly intelligent woman, very driven. She is having a really challenging year. And it may be she's got feeling a little bit of a lack of support in her school, but she's really struggling with a particular parent of a student who happens to have some severe special needs. And she's doing so many wonderful things to make sure that the parents are in the loop and that she is crossing the T's and dotting the I's. She's doing a great job. And some of her struggle may be kind of self-inflicted, if you will, that she just wants to do such an amazing job and is afraid she may not be doing enough. But it doesn't matter why. The bottom line is that she's having a tough year and she's taking it home and it's affecting her family, it's affecting her health. And all too often we see this happen with our students or with our student teachers, our new teachers. And it's just a really difficult time. So we're in the process of deciding if this is a good fit for her. If the current placement is a good fit, at this point, she may be writing out her year, but continuing to look elsewhere for maybe a better fit for her. I had the same exact situation happen with two other members of the network. One last year who was in a very challenging position, had a lot of lack of support from her administration, worked with a number of paraprofessionals that tended to be rather overbearing. And it was just a really bad time. And worked with her. She made the decision at the end of her school year last year to move on. And I swear it is like talking to a completely different person about her job. She is on fire. She is excited. She loves her job. She is the most spirited teacher on campus. And it's just been this wealth of emotional weight that has been lifted from her. She was in a position last year where she was thinking of quitting the profession, something that she had worked so hard to get to moving to a new school, a new grade level, completely feeling a part of the team. And it has just rejuvenated her. A third story, one that happened actually this fall, another teacher who was having almost a combative type of a year with her administrator, who was feeling very almost targeted. And it was very, very sketchy what was happening at this particular school. And she had tried to professionally handle it for a number of weeks. And within, I would say, about 8 weeks of the school year, was confronted by the principal in some situation and quit her job on the spot. I would not recommend doing this for anyone. This requires so much courage. Oh, I could never have done it, but she felt compelled and she was not going to stay in this position any longer. It was very, very toxic. She quit. She went home, she applied, and within, I'm not even exaggerating, within 3 days, she had 2 new offers. She was employed at a new district, at a new school, a new grade level within days. Now, she was a special ed teacher. They are highly sought after. It's a little different with gen ed. And this woman has now been given an opportunity to work with a new school and has started already to change the lives of her students. She has a wonderful, beautiful relationship with her new administrator, and her students are beginning now to trust her. She works with a really challenging population, and it's just to watch her again, it's like talking to a new person. Now, why do I tell you these stories? Well, we've got some that are in perhaps similar situations to where you are or somebody you know. We have one teacher who is currently in a very difficult position, having to make a difficult decision, and 2 other teachers that were in a similar situation and made that difficult decision to actually leave. And what I can tell you from my many years in the profession and working with the 2 in particular, that sometimes the change has to be made. And when the change is made, it can reignite all of that passion that you had in the beginning for education. So today we are going to consider, is it time for you to move on? And this is kind of a timely topic, honestly, because this is the time of year when administrators and schools and districts are actually looking at their staffing. They're looking at their student numbers. They are deciding, do they have to open new sections? Do they have teachers retiring? Do they have to fill positions? Are they expanding? What are they doing? And so we have to make this decision in the next few weeks or months. And so that's why we're going to talk about it. All right. So how do we, first of all, decide if it's time to move on? So many teachers, I follow a lot of the new teacher groups on Facebook in particular, and I hear so many that just, with tears in their eyes, I'm reading these, and I can tell that they are ready to leave a profession. Now, I want to remind you, how many years, how much sweat and tears did you put into getting your credential in the first place? How many tests did you have to pass? How much money did you have to pay? How much debt do you currently carry for this credential that you worked so hard for? Keep this in mind. The first direction or the first change, if you are in an unhappy situation, should not be to leave the profession. It should not be. You have to make some other smaller changes first. So we start by asking yourself a few questions, okay? First of all, question number one, do you dread going to work? And I don't mean like, oh gosh, I know I have this meeting today. I dread it, but the next day I'm loving it for something. I mean, does it bring you anxiety? Does it cause you to be sick to your stomach? Are you completely basically shutting down yourself because you dread going to work? Now, you may be dreading it for a different reason. So first of all, let's look at a couple of things. Do you feel unappreciated or invisible on your campus? Is there no recognition of the work that you do? Is there not this happy camaraderie between colleagues and administration and all of the staff? Do you feel like you don't belong? Another question. Do you have a good working relationship with your administrator or your principal? If you do, this can go a long way. If you don't, if you feel like this is not a person that you can lean on, seek advice, or have support from, that's a problem. Now, you might be new to a job and you might need to spend some weeks or months or even another year figuring that out. But if you know down to your core that, nope, can't do it, it might be time to move on. But then there's another question. Is it a specific parent or student that is causing your job to be more difficult? Is that where your anxiety lies? Because I'm going to tell you one thing. The kids are going to move on. The parents of those students will move on. And if the reason that you are dreading it is because of a parent or a student for that particular year, and everything else is going really well at your school, you love your staff, you love your colleagues, your district and your administration is supportive, then that's probably not the time to move on. You just have to get through those years and learn how to work with some of these challenging parents. And honestly, that's part of the job, no matter where you go, okay? But if the problem is lying in the people that are going to stay year to year, the administrations, your colleagues, your district, those kinds of things, then you might find yourself having to make the decision to move on, okay? So let's say that you've made this decision to move on. You've decided, I don't want to give up teaching it forever, but I need to try it somewhere else because I'm kind of miserable. If that is where you are, then there are some things that you can do to help you get ready. And as I said earlier, this is the time to do that because this is the time where those decisions are being made about what needs to be open. And job postings are going to start around the end of February, and then they're going to blast through all the way probably till June. You'll still see them over the summer because there's still some movement, but there's a nice little window in there between about March to May where you can kind of relieve some stress by getting a job with another district before you've given up your other one. That's really nice. All right, so what do you do? If you've decided you need to start updating your resume, okay? You've got another 6 months or so of experience. If it's just this year, or who knows, maybe it's a couple of years. Update your resume, update it with all of the committees that you have been a part of, all of the leadership roles. You may not have too many as a new teacher, but any new skills that you have taken on and acquired, update those things. Ask for letters of recommendation. Now, this one's a little bit tricky. You need to have letters of recommendation, usually 3, and you need to have them to make sure that your resume is up to date. And it's ideal if you can get them from your current place of employment. But because it's early in the year, you need to kind of be a little tiptoey around this. So what you can do is a couple of things. You can seek out letters with simply the the comment of, I'm just wanting to update my resume. Would you mind writing me a letter of recommendation? Now, when you ask for a letter of recommendation, ask them first, get the feel for this, make sure it's somebody that that you know can attest to your skill and the things that you're good at. It doesn't always have to be the principal. It could be a colleague. It could be a trusted colleague. It could be a paraprofessional you work with. It could be a parent that you have bonded with over your student. It could be, let's see, any of your ancillary types of colleagues. So if you have a speech and language pathologist, a special ed teacher who you've worked with, somebody that can attest to what you do in the classroom is a really good person to have as far as your letters of recommendation. Now, you also can, if you know that you've trusted these people, you can let them know that you're looking. But honestly, I suggest you keep the looking for a new job kind of quiet in the beginning. Don't only tell those that have to know, and make sure that you ask them to be quiet about it for you. Okay. You're in a weird kind of a timeline right now. So ask for those letters of recommendation in person, then follow up with an email. Thank you so much for agreeing to write a letter of recommendation for me. Just a couple of things that might be helpful when you write this. This is when we met. This is how we've worked together. These are the special skills I would like you to highlight if you are able. That makes it really nice for the person who is writing the letter so that they get their timeline right and everything kind of works together. So keep that in mind. And then once you have everything updated, start submitting those applications, start looking for those postings, because like I said, you're going to want to put the alerts on those probably by March, because there will be a number of things that are coming up. Now, I know it's not easy. I know it's not easy to make this decision, because you're going to have some people that you have bonded with and you adore, colleagues, staff, students, parents, and you're going to have some that you probably don't ever need to see again. But you have to really make sure that you're making a decision that sits well with you, your situation, and your family first and foremost. Because when you are feeling safe, protected, and validated, you are going to be a better teacher for every student. The kids are great no matter where you go. You're looking for a better fit to see if you can reignite that passion that you may have lost this year because you feel overworked, undervalued. I promise it will get better. Please do not give up on a profession that you have spent so much time investing in. Give a change of placement first, the chance. And if you do that, you may just find that you are that teacher you knew you were always meant to be. Listen, I hope that this helped today. If you are in this situation, I would love to hear from you. If you're on YouTube, leave me a comment. If you're on the podcast, leave a comment and a review. And you can always email me, readingdiva06@gmail.com. I would love to hear from you. And if you would like to be a part of our New Teacher Success Network membership, we are running a $10 a month special where you get to meet with me twice a month. We do some office hours and some workshops, and it's a great time. And thank you for giving me the time during Christmas to not come in so that I could take care of some other things. I appreciate it. I hope all is well with you. Thank you for listening, and bye for now.